Alrighty, I'm going to start a series of videos on how to read Braille. Now this is for sighted people. Blind people, they obviously can't watch this video screen, so they really can't use this as a means to learn how to read Braille. Okay, but you guys can, and by doing so, Braille, blind people can write Braille to you, and you could actually read it. Now in today's video, I'm going to cover the first 20 letters of Braille. Why not all 26? Because the last 6 get a little complicated, and I'll explain that in another video. Okay, so let's go through the first 20, and I'm going to start with the first 10 here. Now what's the first thing you should notice about the first 10 of these letters right here? You see that dot in the upper left corner? That dot's going to be there for every single letter all the way to letter H. Okay, it's only letters I and J that dot is not marked in. Now when you're dealing with somebody who actually writes in Braille, the dots are raised. Okay, and that's how the blind people feel it. They feel the raised letters, or the raised bubbles. Okay, and that's how they read it. So all these dots up here represent raised bubbles that these blind people can feel. So there's a raised bubble on every one of these letters from A to H. Okay. Now you say, well, how are we going to remember all this? Well, that's the first thing you have to remember. From A to H, there's going to be a raised bubble in the upper left corner of the brick. All right. Now I know these kind of look like dominoes, don't they? They sure do. All right. How do you remember B, C, and D? Well, B has 2 dots on the left. C has 2 dots up above, and D has 2 dots on the right. Okay. Now what about E? E is a diagonal going from left to right. It's a diagonal going from left to right. Now what about F? Okay, F has a left and a top. G has all the first 4 dots filled in. Okay. Now on H you have a left and these 2 on the bottom. Okay, left and the 2 on the bottom filled in. Now what about I and J? Well, I has the diagonal from right to left. E is from left to right. I is right to left. Okay. And the final one, they just don't have a dot up here. Everything else is filled in. And it sort of looks like a J if you curve it around like this. Now you say, well, okay, that covers A through J. What about the other letters? All right. Give me just a moment here. I'm going to show you exactly what happens. Okay. Don't you just love doodling? Okay, here's the letters K through T. Now you notice the pattern up here is exactly the same as the pattern from A to J. You should have, because it is. The only difference between A through J and K through T is this little dot on the lower left. Every one of these letters has a dot on the lower left. That's the only difference. So if you're talking A through J, the 2 dots on the bottom would be empty. If you're talking K through T, the lower left will be filled in. But everything else is exactly the same. So you don't have to change a whole heck of a lot to change it from A through J to K through T. All you have to do to change it from A through J to K through T is you fill in the little dot on the lower left. That's all you do. Everything else is exactly the same. Alright, now you say, well, what about the rest of the letters? I'm going to tell you that in my next video, so stay tuned.